All right, what's up? KY Chia here. This is a story of my growing years in Teluk Anson. All right, we have been shifting from place to place, like the gypsies, when I was young, growing up in Teluk Anson. Well, in this case, it's when I was 10 years old. Father just sold a house in 792 Anson Road. All right, now Jalan Bandar, and we shifted to Immigrant Road. They have changed the names. Let's see. I'm not sure what name it is now, but it was Immigrant Road. All right, where well, I think we could have rented a place, 503 Immigrant Road, where my father started his timber business, selling planks, roti, those, for a few years. So behind us was just the river. So that's where I learned to swim. I was about 10, 11 years old, right? Okay. So I think water was from the pipe near the road. Telenson those days was hard to get pipe water, you know, into the house. Normally it's from the public, and they put several pipes, 10 pipes around along the roads and you get from there. So, okay. So this is, but for washing and for drink and other utility purposes, we had to get water from the river. So during high tide, we would, you know, take water from the river and pour into a tub or a drum. So yeah, my father would buy this sodium chloride, where you put into the muddy water, and the muddy water it will clear. The mud will clear. After a few hours, you can see the mud really, the sediment flowing down with this kind of sodium chloride. All right. Okay. So we used to swim, every opportunity. So much so that, we always get beating from mother, but yet we were there again almost every day. That's where I learned how to swim. It's almost got swept away. Okay, this my father, he was having his business. Okay, the name was Tong Sing Timber Merchant. Tong Sing Timber Merchant. Chia Kam Chai. See, he's sitting in his office. Well, business was good for a while, but then I fell on bad times. I don't know what happened. And then we had to rent out the space, where we kept wood, to one to a carpenter and the other to a, of all trade, a coffin maker. You don't believe it. Maybe we were young, you see. So, well, it was one of those things. I was not surprised, not stunned or anything like that, because we were so young to really understand the repercussions or whatever. So anyway, we was rented. So every night, we would play around with the coffins. The coffins were red in color, mind you. Red coffins were that cheap. So we used to go in and out, sleep in it, very comfortable. So, so, so maybe I'm one of the very few people who can tell you that I have slept in a coffin before, not one, many coffins. But these carpenters sold cheap coffins. These were just not the expensive ones. Expensive ones were hewn straight from a tree. These were just planks. All right. So we fool around. But little did I realize that, having a place rented out to coffee makers would, you know, embarrass, yeah, us when we were children. But we were not. We were still too young to really, you know, understand it. But still, when we went to school, we were the brunt of jokes. Students or friends would say, his father's selling coffin, these guys. So at first I thought it was just a joke. But then by and by, the thing came into my mind. So probably it was not a good thing. But then the thing stayed with me, for a long time. Even today, Well, I don't blame my parents, but because of circumstances, we had to rent out to make ends meet. We had to pay rent. So of course, yeah, people may blame my father, but I don't really blame him. But those are memories. So I think back. That's why I can think back every detail, of what happened. Okay, by and by, business was wrapped up, and then we shifted again to a different place. That's why I tell you, in my 19 years in Anson, I've shifted. My family have shifted since selling the house to no more than 6 places. Six. That's why I'm able to tell you so many happenings around the town. I have settled them, stayed, in four corners of the town, and of course my adventures, began when we shifted to the estate where there was still a secondary jungle, you know, and that was where my adventure began. So we spent a lot of time there in the woods, fooling around, catching fish, catching birds. Well, those were the days. So I did not really spend that much time, as a child with friends in town because we were poor, and so my friends were mostly, Indian boys in the estate. So I could, yeah, probably that was the only place I could go because I could not afford anything because we were already far from town. So every day I come back from the school, I would be in the secondary jungle. And especially weekends, I would be in the jungle. So I seldom came to town. It was only when, I went to secondary school, then have to ship back to town. Then I was staying with my uncle. Then I mixed around again. You see, I was just really not a kampung boy. I was a jungle boy, really. So you can ask me things about the jungle, I would know. Yeah, leeches and snakes. Okay, that was my growing years. Well, it was. I remember, many things. It was a great life. We were very poor, very very poor. There was hardly food, enough food. Yeah, on the table. Even at days, we had to eat crumbs. But that's another story. Okay, so I'm just telling you my life near the river, Immigrant Road. Okay, thank you for watching. Bye bye.